Okay, so we're going to stand in Tadasana to start with. Inner edges of the feet together. So spread your toes. All right, so we're going to start out by taking the arms across the front of the body. So I'm just going to show. You're going to stretch out your right arm, swing it across and take it like that. Okay, so let's do that together. Stretch out with the right arm, extend into the fingertips. Now this area here is your plumb line. Imagine it's a post that's been rooted into the floor. So this does not change. Your breastbone does not swing with you. Your arm comes across the body. Don't bend your arm in the center. Just catch hold of it with your left hand and let your right shoulder release down. So it's quite a strong stretch. When you do this correctly without using other parts of the body to help you, then this is quite a strong stretch on the shoulder and that upper arm area. So again, don't go mad. All right, stretch the arms out. Extend out with your left arm, stretch into the fingertips, open out in the shoulder joint, swing it across and hold it. Breathe. So when we come to doing the more adventurous back bends, things like Dhanurasana, which is sometimes referred to as the wheel or the crab, you know, those require a lot of movement in the shoulders. It's not just the back that has to work in those. All right, release the arm and stretch the arms down. We're not actually doing that pose today, but if you carry on with your yoga practice, then you definitely will be doing it because it's one that is on our introductory syllabus. Okay, so from here, we're going to take the arms back. So I'm just going to show. You're going to hold on. Now, if it's difficult holding onto your arm, you can always take a belt and hold on like that if you've got shoulder problems. You're going to slide your hand down to the wrist and draw it back. Okay, so grab hold of your left upper arm with your right hand. Keep in Tadasana, make sure that the inner edges of the feet are together in this mountain pose. Lift your chest, tailbone long. Slide your hand down to your wrist or your belt. If you're using a belt loop, you slide the belt loop down to the wrist. Pull on the wrist, lift up with your breastbone and just see if you can move the arms a little away from the body. Releasing. Hold on to the other upper arm. Stretch down with your fingers, lift up with your chest, slide your hand and move the arms back. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation through the nasal passages. Okay, and releasing. Well done. So we're going to come into Gomukhasana. Now you might need to have a belt for this action. So I'm just going to show you how this is going to work. So we're going to stretch up with the right arm. If you need your belt, it will be over your right shoulder. You're going to take that arm down, stretch out with the left arm and take it and see if you can grab hold of your fingers or if you can grab hold of your belt. Okay, so let's do that together. So the belt's over the right shoulder, if you're using it. Inner edges of the feet together, toes spreading, weight into the outer foot bones, and then bring the weight back into the heel bones. Frontal pelvic bones lifted, tailbone long. Now stretch your right arm up by your right ear. Really extend into the fingertips, roll this upper arm in and bend at the elbow so that you're walking your right fingers down your spine. Then use your left hand to just lift the upper arm up, stretch the left arm out, keep your right upper arm next to your ear as you rotate your left hand and arm, so it's not just the hand, it's the whole of the arm, and take that hand up your back. Now once you're catching your belt or your fingers, you pull the elbows away from one another and draw the left shoulder back. So the shoulder blade comes more into the body. Keep the ribs back, keep the abdomen back. Breathe, fine inhalation, exhalation, releasing. So this pose is a very important pose for both head balance and back bends. So stretching up with the left arm, rotate that upper arm in. You've got to get this turning of the flesh, and then hand comes down your back. Use your right hand to help you pull that arm a little bit further down, stretch out with the right hand, rotate and see if you can catch. So once you're catching, then the work doesn't stop. You move that right shoulder back, so that will move your shoulder blade into your back rather than having it winging out. So move that right shoulder back, let the shoulder blade release, ribs back, abdomen back, left upper arm close to the ear, and breathe. Okay, and releasing. All right. So we're going to come into Adho Mukha Adho Mukha Virasana. If Adho Mukha Virasana is problematic for you, then you can do the alternative that will come up in the inset when we're doing Adho Mukha Virasana. But I'm going to show you the two poses. When we come into Adho Mukha Virasana, I want you to have your little fingers off the outer edge of the mat. So it's a wide action with your hands. Then you're going to lift up and we're going to just swing forwards and back, forwards and back, forwards and back to get a little movement in the shoulders and in the upper back region. And then you're going to come down into Adho Mukha Virasana. Okay, let's do together. Little finger off the edge of the mat, middle finger pointing directly forwards, pressing the knuckles down. Spread your fingers and really get good contact with your hands. At this stage, have your elbows above your wrists and your shoulders above your elbows. So in other words, the whole of the arm is vertical. It's not going to stay that way. So tuck your toes under, have your feet hip width apart, lift your sitting bones to the ceiling, and then take the arms out of vertical. And then look forwards, bring them back. And then incline the arms backwards. Bring the arms into vertical, incline them backwards. Keep lifting your frontal pelvic bones as you're doing this action. Keep moving your navel towards your spine. Keep your kneecaps lifted. And your thighs are gripping to the bone. So you're coming forwards and back all the time, even with those instructions. Inner elbows facing one another, not swiveling round to the front. Okay, and now release down. Toes together, heels apart. Now, sitting back on the heels is not a feasible action for some people, so you do the alternative, which is shown in the inset from the chair. Rest your head down and breathe. So extend forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana. All right, just coming back up again, have a look at the screen. So we're going to come from Adho Mukha Virasana, rocking forwards and back. We're going to rock forwards and come into Urdhva Mukha, dog head up. And then we're going to swing back into dog head down. And then we're going to come into Adho Mukha Virasana. So let's do that together. Hands with the little fingers off the edge of the mat. Middle finger pointing directly forwards. Inner elbows face one another. Come into a vertical position with the arms. Tuck your toes under. Move your abdomen towards your spine. Lift your frontal pelvic bones up. Those of you who worked with me last week will remember this action of the frontal pelvic bones lifting. Lift up. And now swing forwards and back, forwards and back, forwards and back, forwards and back. And now on the next one, swing into Urdhva Mukha, dog head up. Keep the thigh bones active. So lifting away from the floor, thigh muscles lifting to the bone, broad across your collarbones. Take the outer tips of the shoulders back. Breathe through the nostrils, bring your chest through, and then swing back up into Adho Mukha Virasana, dog head down. And now come down onto your hands and knees. Sit back on your heels, and either this pose, Adho Mukha Virasana, or the alternative, on the chair, if that is a difficult action for you. So just take a few moments to breathe. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation. All right, and and now coming up. So we're going to come for Parsvottanasana, but we're using the back of the chair here. Now, if you don't have a chair, that's fine. You can use a window ledge, back of the sofa, something like that. So this time we're working not with the hands to the seat of the chair, but with the hands to the back of the chair, because we're working for a different reason. We're working to get this upper back moving in. Okay, and then we can step forwards out of the pose and go to the other side. So let's do this together now. Stand in Tadasana. If you need to have your heels up, last week you may remember we did it with the heels up onto a foam pad. So if you need to have your heels up onto a foam pad, then take a foam pad. Turn your left foot out slightly and step forwards with your right foot. Now the pelvis turns off to the left when you do that, so you have to revolve it back so that it faces forwards. Broaden the gluteal crease of the back leg, so from the inner thigh to the outer thigh you have to rotate that back leg. Tailbone long, you can push your thumbs into your sacrum to move that into the body. There are two little dents in the back of the sacral bone in the center of your pelvis. You can push into those with your thumbs. Elbows back, chest lifted. Now hinge forwards, keep pulling back on your right leg as you hinge forwards. Keep the breadth in the gluteal crease of the left leg. Extend your hands forwards to your support, whether that's the back of the sofa or whatever it might be. But we're working the upper back region now. So your dorsal spine, keeping the ears between the arms, your dorsal spine has got to move in. Push back with the back leg heel, back leg thigh. Lift your collarbones. Okay, coming up and going to the other side now. So standing in Tadasana again, right foot out this time. So it doesn't turn out very far, the toes just point to the top corner of the mat. Left foot comes forwards, and then this back leg has to turn. So the gluteal crease and the thigh all turn. So in that direction. So there's a spiraling action on that back leg. So the muscle fibers have to start rotating. Draw up the front leg kneecap and the thigh muscle. Keep the tailbone long. Extend forwards. So when we're in this action, sometimes we can get a little bit of a balance issue. So draw up through the front leg kneecap. Keep the frontal pelvic bones lifted. Keep broad in that gluteal crease on the back leg, and extend forwards. Press down into the big toe mound of the front foot. Keep drawing up that front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle. Breathe. Draw the front leg bone back into the socket. Keep lifting in that front leg, thigh and hip. Okay, coming up, stepping forwards and coming out of the pose. Good. So the chair can go to one side now. Stand in Tadasana. Roll the shoulders back and down. Roll the shoulders back and down, and now we're going to take the arms in this action. So I'm just going to show. I'm going to stretch the arms up, bring the hands together and bring the palms so that the thumbs come into the nape of the neck. So if this is a difficult action for you, then what you're going to do is you're going to slide your arms up the wall as much as you can, sliding them up, sliding them up, sliding them up. All right. So tailbone long, chest lifted, inhale, stretch the arms up, bring the palms together, keeping the elbows in, keeping the upper arms towards your ears, move your thumbs down. Now with that action, you're just going to push your head slightly, the back of the head, against those lower arms, ribs back, abdomen back, tailbone long, inner edges of the feet together. And then stretch the arms up and release down. Good, well done. So we're going to come back onto the floor level now. I'm just going to show you. We're going to come Adho Mukha Virasana, same way as we were before, with the arms vertical, then taking them back, forwards, and then when you come forwards, you're going to see, can you move your elbows directly back to come into Chaturanga? All right, and then we're going to lift up into Urdhva Mukha, dog head up, and then back into Adho Mukha, dog head down, and then Adho Mukha Virasana, or the version from the chair. All right, so let's give this a go. Not everybody's favourite pose, it has to be said, but we have to learn to love these things. Okay, so have the little fingers off the edges of the mat, middle finger pointing forwards, tuck your toes under, lift up. Look at your feet, make sure that they're hip width apart, you've got your toes nicely spreading, heels pointing straight back. Now you'll have your arms a little slanted now, so bring them into the vertical, back into a slanted action, into the vertical, back to a slanting action. Now in the vertical, from here you're going to just bend your elbows straight back towards the back end of your mat. Okay, and then swing up, Urdhva Mukha Virasana. Some of you may be able to do that without grounding. I'm still working on that myself. All right, and then push back into dog head down. Let the head and neck release, and then come into Adho Mukha Virasana. Toes together, heels apart, stretch forwards. All right, so if you have bricks, you're going to take your bricks, and we're going to come into this Chaturanga action on the bricks, which for some people is useful and for other people it is less so, but we have to try different ways of working, and even if it is not as good for you, then you know it's worthwhile getting the action. So what we have to do here, the tailbone drills down and the thighs lift off. Your elbows have got to come in tightly, so there's no good your elbows being out here. All right, the elbows have got to move in. It's got to be a compact pose. So inhale, exhale, and you just lift in one go. All right, so let's give that a go. If you don't have bricks, you can try this with a couple of books the same size, or a couple of foam pads. You could have 2 foam pads on each side. That would work okay. So have your hands onto your bricks, fingers coming a little off the edges and elbows in. Now drill your tailbone to the floor and lift your thighs up, feet hip width apart. Inhale, and on an exhalation, lift. Breathe, and release down. Okay, so you might have got off the floor, or you might not have got off the floor. It doesn't matter if you don't get off the floor. I'm just going to show you 2 things which tend to happen in this pose. So, when I'm teaching this, the 2 things that I see are this, which is not the pose, it's more like a not very good dog head up, Urdhva Mukha Virasana, or I see this. Okay, where the pelvis lifts but the chest is not lifting. So just be aware of the fact that you might fall into one of those 2 categories. And if you do, that's fine, but
we're trying to lift the whole of the body off in one go. So lengthen the tailbone, lengthen the breastbone, lift your thighs off the floor, inhale, and on an exhalation, elbows back, chest lifted, extend into your heels, breathe and release. Okay, just fold your arms and rest your head onto your arms. Let your toes come together and your heels come apart.